Good morning, everyone. Uh, I'm Dr. Shabana here, and today we are going to start upper limb bones. So, we are starting regional anatomy. So, in the regional anatomy, we will be doing region wise. So, we are starting with upper limb followed with thorax, and we also have other regions like lower limb, abdomen, head and neck, thorax. Okay, so neuroanatomy. So, like that, we have some regional anatomy as a part of gross anatomy. So, let us start with upper limb. So, initially, when we start, we generally talk about bones of upper limb. So, among which the first bone, what we study in detail is clavicle. So, our lecture today is clavicle. So overall, what are the various bones we see in the upper limb as an introduction, I will tell you. So we see clavicle, anteriorly behind we have scapula, we have humerus in the arm, this is the elbow joint, and in the forearm we have medial bone is ulna, lateral bone is radius, we have carpal bones which are 8 in number, we have metacarpals which are 5 in number, phalanges which are 14 in number. Overall, like we have 32 bones in the upper limb. You can make a total over here. Now, the clavicle, which is also called as collarbone, from this picture you can make out like it is actually connecting the axial skeleton with the appendicular skeleton. Okay, this is the clavicle, also called as collarbone. And the end of the bone which is close to midline, you call it as medial end. And the end of the bone which is away from midline, you call it as lateral end. We can see the medial end is actually connected to sternum bone. This is the breastbone or the sternum bone, and lateral end of the bone is connected with scapula, which is the bone of the thoracic cage or the upper limb shoulder girdle or the pectoral girdle, which is seen from behind. Okay, now see here, what are the various, now when you just look at the clavicle, so it has like this end, which is sternal end, is on the medial side. This is the acromial end, which is lateral side. This is the anterior aspect of the bone. And the one which is behind, this is the posterior aspect of the bone. Okay, and these are the general features of the right clavicle, what you are seeing. This side, this is the right clavicle and this is the left clavicle. So this is sternal end, this is acromial end. Sternal end can be also called as medial end. Acromial end can be also called as lateral end. And the surface, what you see from front is anterior surface, and the surface, what we see from behind is posterior. Now, for our understanding, we have divided this clavicle bone into medial 2/3 and lateral 1/3, the place where we have maximum curvature. Why the sternal end is shown with a blue color over here? Because it is the place where it is articulating with the sternum bone to form sternoclavicular joint, and from the chapter of classification of joints you have learned like the ends of the bone are covered with hyaline cartilage, also called as articular cartilage. So this is the acromial end. Here acromial end also we have hyaline cartilage. Okay. So medial 2/3 and lateral 1/3, this is the superior aspect. And lower down, when we see from down, we have inferior aspect of the bone. When you talk about the medial 2/3, it is convex anteriorly and concave posteriorly. And lateral 1/3, it is concave anteriorly and it is convex posteriorly. Medial 1/3, it is little cylindrical or round, whereas lateral 1/3 is flat. Okay, when you just feel the bone, it is flat. Okay, now this is the superior aspect. When you see the bone from down, you call it as inferior aspect. And again on the inferior aspect, we have certain like things which we should know. So we have an impression here for the articulation with the first rib. You call it as costoclavicular ligament. Costoclavicular ligament. In the middle 1/3 of the clavicle, on the inferior aspect, there will be a groove, depression, which is called as subclavian groove. Subclavian groove. And when we see on the lateral 1/3, on its inferior aspect, you will find one ridge, you call it as trapezoid ridge, and adjacent to that, you will find the conoid tubercle. We will, as we move as we proceed with the following slides, you will know the importance of these all structures: trapezoid ridge, conoid tubercle, subclavian groove, and also the impression which connects the first rib with the clavicle, where you have the connection called as costoclavicular ligament. Okay. Then, now let us see the muscle attachments in general. I told you this is right clavicle what we are seeing. This is the medial 2/3 and the medial end is sternal end which is round, and the margins of the sternal end of the clavicle, it is covered by capsule of sternoclavicular joint. So medial 2/3, when we see from the superior aspect, anteriorly it is giving attachment to the muscle pectoralis major. Okay, whatever is shown in this red color over here, it is origin, and blue color is generally representing insertion. Origin of the muscle is the place where it starts, insertion is the point where the muscle ends. These are the terminology what we use in anatomy, and the green color what we use are generally for the capsule of the joint and also for the ligaments. Okay, now from the anterior surface, anterior 2/3, you are finding the origin of pectoralis major, and when you see from superior aspect, you also have the origin of sternocleidomastoid muscle. Okay, when we see the lateral 1/3, I told you it is flat. Now if you see from the anterior aspect, it gives the origin to deltoid, and from the posterior border of the lateral 1/3, it is receiving the insertion of trapezius. The same muscles, when we see from inferior aspect, you can see, this is the anterior aspect which has been continued, which is convex. We have the pectoralis major. I told you there is a subclavian groove in the middle 1/3 of the inferior aspect of the clavicle. The floor of the subclavian groove gives insertion to the muscle called as subclavius. Okay, lateral 1/3, you can see again along the anterior border, you see the origin of deltoid. Posterior border, we have the insertion of trapezius. In the previous slide, I told you we have conoid, tubercle and trapezoid ridge. These conoid, tubercle and trapezoid ridge are actually giving attachment to the trapezoid and conoid part of coracoclavicular ligament. That means it's a ligament which is connecting the coracoid process of the scapula, which you will be studying as a next class, scapula bone, and the clavicle. The connection between the scapula bone and clavicle, you will have coracoclavicular ligament. And of course, the lateral end, it is actually called as acromial end because it is articulating with the acromion process of scapula, and the name of the joint is acromioclavicular joint, and the margins of this acromial end also has capsule as we have seen with the sternal end. And from the sternal end, in the middle part, you can see we have the attachment of costoclavicular ligament. In the previous picture, I told you it is costo groove, no impression for the costoclavicular ligament. Here you are actually finding the connection between the clavicle and the first rib. You call it as costoclavicular ligament. Lower down, there is a connection between the sternum and hyoid bone. You call it as sternohyoid muscle. Okay. Hyoid bone we see in the neck region. Okay, so here you have a muscle, actually the sternohyoid, few fibers are also coming from here. Okay, then of course this is the capsule of the sternoclavicular joint, which is seen along the margins of the sternal end of the clavicle. Okay, you can pause here while you are listening to it and listen to this recording 1 or 2 to 3 times so that you get oriented with the terminology, because this is the first phone you are learning. Okay, now you can see these are the different pictures. You have sternal end, acromial end, and same thing, of course different pictures. Okay, now you can see this is like whole of the thoracic cage. You are finding the pectoral girdle, where you have the clavicle bone, scapula bone, humerus bone. Medial end is articulating with the sternum bone. This is the sternoclavicular joint. Of course, connecting you have the anterior sternoclavicular ligament. This is the medial 2/3 convex anteriorly, lateral 1/3 concave anteriorly, and it is flat. Okay, this is the acromion process of the scapula bone, and this point is the acromioclavicular joint, where you have the conoid and the trapezoid part of the costoclavicular, coracoclavicular, this conoid and trapezoid part of the coracoclavicular ligament. That is the connection between the coracoid process and the clavicle. We'll come to this absent clavicle later. Now coming to this clavicle, I told you it is also called as collarbone. Okay, it comes under the category of long bone. It is slightly S-shaped, located horizontally, articulates medially with the sternum and also with the first rib. Okay, cartilage, and laterally it is articulating with the acromion process of scapula. You can also palpate in your own body. It is completely subcutaneous. Only bony attachment which we see between the axial and appendicular skeleton. I told you in the beginning that is between the trunk and upper limb. The connecting bone is clavicle. Functions of the clavicle. It acts as a strut for holding the upper limb far from the trunk so that it can move freely. This allows free swing of upper limb for various prehensile acts such as holding, catching, etc. So we know like clavicle is also transmitting forces from the upper limb to the axial skeleton. It provides an area for the attachment of muscles. Now, peculiarities of clavicle. This is very, very important slide among all the slides. The most important slide is this because peculiarities of clavicle will be generally asked for 3 marks question or it may also come as a 5 marks question and it is a favorite question of the examiners during osteology viva. Now let us see what are the peculiarities we have in the clavicle. It is the only long bone which lies horizontally. It has no medullary cavity. It is subcutaneous throughout its extent. It is the first bone to start ossifying between the 5th and 6th week of intrauterine life and it is last bone to complete its ossification at around 25 years of life. These terms we have introduced when we were doing general anatomy, bone, cartilage and everything. This is the only long bone which ossifies by two primary ossification centers. And it is the only long bone which ossifies in membrane except for its medial end. Okay, the long bone is ossifying in the cartilage. Okay, then it may be pierced through and through by means of cutaneous nerve that is intermediate supraclavicular nerve. Okay, that is. These are the peculiarities. Then, now this is Vishram Singh's picture. We have different pictures. Like first picture I have taken from Chaurasia and this is Vishram Singh. Whichever is easy for you, you can follow those books. Okay. Now, let us see. Whatever I have discussed by you making use of diagrams, this everything has been texted. Nothing new. You need not worry. Now we know this is the lateral end which is also called as acromial end. It is flattened above downwards. It articulates with the medial margin of acromion process. This is the medial end of the bone which is also called as sternal end. It is enlarged and it is quadrilateral, articulates with the clavicular notch of the manubrium sterni. This is shaft of the bone which is curved. Medial 2/3 is round and convex forwards and lateral 1/3 is flattened and it is concave forwards. Inferior surface is this. It is possessing a small longitudinal groove. What is that I said? Subclavian groove in its middle 1/3. So anatomical position and side determination hold the bone horizontally in such a way that the flattened end is on the lateral side, okay, and enlarged quadrilateral end is on the medial side. And check like convexity of its medial 2/3 and concavity of lateral 1/3, okay. And just check for this subclavian longitudinal groove on the inferior aspect in the middle 1/3 of the shaft. Then coming to the attachments, I already told you with the help of initial slides, this will be a just revision of the same thing. So lateral end, also called as acromial end, we know it is flattened above downwards. It has oval facet articulating with the medial margin of the acromion to form acromioclavicular joint. And we have seen it is all covered by a fibrous capsule for the attachment of acromioclavicular joint. Then this is medial end, also called as sternal end. It is saddle shaped. Okay, articular surface articulates with the clavicular notch of the manubrium sterni to form sternoclavicular joint. Okay, so we are finding like it is like here A is actually we are finding the attachment of the fibrous capsule. Inside you will see also the articular disc and there will be one more structure called as interclavicular ligament. Now coming to the lateral 1/3 of the shaft, it is flattened from above downwards. Two surfaces it has, superior surface and inferior surface. When you see from above, it is superior surface. When you see from below, it is inferior surface. It has two borders. This is anterior border, this is posterior border. When you hold it from inferior aspect, this becomes anterior border, this becomes posterior border. So superior surface, you can feel for your own bone, the clavicle, which is subcutaneous. Superior surface, subcutaneous, between the attachment of these two muscles. What are those? Deltoid and trapezius. Deltoid and trapezius. Now, on the inferior aspect of the lateral one-third, we have already discussed, like we have certain elevations. One is conoid tubercle and the other is trapezoid ridge. So, conoid tubercle near the posterior border at the junction of lateral one-third and the medial three-fourths of the clavicle. So trapezoid ridge is this where I am pointing now. So trapezoid ridge is extending forwards and laterally from the conoid tubercle. So attachment here you can see the conoid and trapezoid part of coracoclavicular ligament respectively. Okay, when you talk about lateral one-third, this is anterior border which is concave forwards. This, like this you can see anterior border which is concave forwards. It is giving origin to this muscle. What is the name of this muscle? Deltoid. And this is posterior border which is convex backwards. It provides insertion to muscle trapezius. Now coming to medial two-thirds, it is cylindrical in shape and it has four surfaces. What are those? The surface which you see from front is anterior surface which you see from behind is posterior surface, the surface which you see from above is superior surface, and the surface which you see from below is inferior surface. So anterior surface is convex forwards. It gives origin, you can see the muscle name, that is the pectoralis major, clavicular head of pectoralis major. That means it also has sternal head, okay, which comes from the sternum bone. Then coming to the posterior surface, it is concave backwards, okay, and it is giving origin to sternohyoid muscle near its medial end, and lateral part forms anterior boundary of cervicoaxillary canal. This we will repeat when we are doing axilla. You need not worry now what is the cervicoaxillary canal. Okay. So this area, posterior surface, is related to the trunks of brachial plexus and third part of subclavian artery. Brachial plexus is a separate 1 hour lecture. Subclavian artery is a separate 1 hour lecture. I am just introducing terms here. You need not worry even if you are not understanding these two words at the moment. Okay, now coming to the superior surface. So this is the clavicular head of the sternocleidomastoid, which is originating from the medial half of the superior surface. This whole thing, sternocleidomastoid. Now coming to the inferior surface. So what is the ligament we have? You can see this is the connection between the first rib and the medial end of the clavicle. You call it as costoclavicular ligament. Okay, so costoclavicular ligament is attached to an oval impression which is seen on the posterior-inferior aspect of the clavicle. Then we talked about subclavian groove which is seen in the middle one-third of the clavicle, and the floor of this groove is giving insertion to subclavius muscle. And the margins of the subclavian groove gives attachment to very important structure which is called as clavipectoral fascia. Okay. Now, when you have studied the general anatomy of bones, we have come across the word nutrient foramen, the hole through which the blood vessels are entering the bone. So, nutrient foramen of the clavicle is located on the lateral end of the subclavian groove. So, that actually finishes the bone. So, then we will talk about ossification. Ossification in the sense during the embryonic life, when the fetus is formed inside the mother's uterus, partly the bone is made up of membrane, partly the bone is made up of cartilage. Both the membrane and cartilage gradually transform into bone. Okay, if the membrane is converting to osseous tissue, that is bone, you call it as membranous ossification. If cartilage is converting to bone, we call it as cartilaginous ossification. This we have taught you when we were doing general anatomy of bone. You can revise that lecture to know what is membranous ossification and cartilaginous ossification. So one of the peculiarity of clavicle, I told you, it is ossifying both in the membrane and also in cartilage. Whole of it ossifies in the membrane except its medial end which ossifies in cartilage. The clavicle begins to ossify before any other bone in the body. That is one of the peculiarity we have studied. This is the first bone to ossify, and it has two primary ossification centers we have seen. Basically, any long bone which you will be studying hereafter throughout the body, usually we have only one primary ossification center. The meaning of primary ossification center is the bone is formed here during the intrauterine life. That means this center has appeared during intrauterine life. Secondary center represent the center has appeared after the birth of the baby. That is the meaning of secondary center. So primary centers are two in number and they are appearing for shaft. Okay, towards sternal end we have secondary center at the sternal end, and acromial end we have secondary center at the acromial end. Okay, which is occasional. Now, the two primary centers, one is medial, this one is medial, and this, because this is near to the medial end and this is away from the medial end. So medial and lateral, we see they are appearing during 5th to 6th weeks of intrauterine life, and they fuse during 45th day of intrauterine life. Okay, then secondary center at the sternal end, it is appearing during 19 to 20 years of life, 2 years earlier in female. Okay, and it is fusing by 25th year of life. Okay, secondary center at the acromial end, you will see it is appearing during 25th year, 20th year of intrauterine life, and it fuses immediately. Okay, so that is, and of course this secondary center for acromial end is usually it is occasional, not like it is always present. Okay, that is. Now coming to fracture of clavicle. Just now you have seen the curvature of the clavicle is abruptly changing when you see this is the medial 2/3 and this is lateral 1/3. Medial 2/3 I told you it is convex anteriorly, lateral 1/3 it is concave anteriorly. That means there is abrupt change in the curvature of bone. That's the reason when a person is falling on outstretched hand, you will see there may be fracture at the junction of medial 2/3 and lateral 1/3. Okay, clavicle is the most commonly fractured bone when we are falling at outstretched hand or on the shoulder. Okay, junction of lateral 1/3 and medial 2/3. Lateral fragment is this, which is displaced downwards and by the weight of the upper limb. Medial fragment is slightly elevated. You can see because it has the attachment of sternocleidomastoid muscle superiorly. The characteristic clinical picture supporting this sagging upper limb with the opposite hand. Okay, that means person will support this limb with the other limb which is normal. The fracture at the junction of lateral 1/3 and medial 2/3, I told you because this is weakest site. Two curvatures of clavicle meet at this point, and of course the transmission of forces due to impact from the clavicle to the scapula occur at this site through coracoclavicular ligament. Okay, this is the fracture. Medial 2/3, lateral 1/3. Now let us see what are the congenital anomalies. Congenital anomalies in the sense the anomalies which are present right from the birth. You call them as congenital anomalies. We have cleidocranial dysostosis. Here clavicle is present. You can see surface anatomy like structure where you can see subcutaneously clavicle is present. But this boy you can see he is able to bring the shoulder tips medially because clavicle is absent here. You call this condition as cleidocranial dysostosis. A partial or complete absence of clavicle associated with defective ossification of skull bone. Clavicular dysostosis. Medial and lateral parts of clavicle remain separate due to non-union of two primary centers of ossification. That means clavicle in X-ray it appears as though it is two pieces of bone, which is actually not a fracture. It is only due to lack of union of two primary ossification centers. Okay, I told you I'll take you to the X-ray picture later. Now let us come to this X-ray. We are finding this is the vertebral column. These are the ribs, but clavicle is missing. You call this here clavicle is present. Just a comparative study. Here you can see the clavicle is shown as two pieces. Okay, that means lack of fusion is actually when you are thinking like it is lack of fusion, always we have to check bilateral. If it is only bilateral means right and left side you have to check. Here the fusion is there, here fusion is not there. That means here it is showing fracture of clavicle, and the other picture of X-ray, it is showing absence clavicle. Okay, you call it as cleidocranial dysostosis. Okay, and suppose if ossification centers, primary ossification centers are not fusing, what do you call it as? Clavicular dysostrosis. Clavicular dysostrosis. Okay, hope you understood the lecture. Try to start reading and take the help of textbook also, whichever you are following. After listening to this lecture, slowly you study, definitely you will understand. Don't keep any pending thing, because definitely there will be a part completion test after any regional anatomy. So we have started with upper limb. So do daily studies. If you have any doubts, you can ask us in our Telegram group. Okay, all the best. Bye.